everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the complex number. Hope you have gone through the first part of the complex number. Today is the second part. In the second part, we'll be discussing about some properties of the complex number, how to add, divide, multiply, subtract a complex number with another, some property related to the modulus, some property related to the conjugate of the complex number, and what is the concept of argument, and how to find out the argument of a complex number, and how to represent a complex number in a polar form. So these are the main things which this video will be discussed, and hope it will be helpful for understanding the concepts and to solve the problems. So let's start with the complex number part 2. Complex number part 2. In the previous video related to the complex number, which was the part 1 of complex number, we have discussed the concept of I, what is a complex number, how to determine that a number is a complex number, and how to find out different values of I and to solve problems related to that, and the conjugate and modulus and amplitude of a complex number. So in this part 2, we'll start with the equality of two complex number, which is very easy. Equality of two complex number. Let there are two complex number. Let Z1 be A1 plus IB1 and Z2 be A2 plus IB2. Now, somehow it is given that Z1 is equal to Z2. Z1 is equal to Z2. It has been given in the program, or you have found out that Z1 is equal to Z2. Now, Z1 is equal to Z2 means we can write that A1 plus IB1 is equals to A2 plus IB2. Now, what are the things we can compare from both the sides, both the equal sides or both the complex number? Remember it very thoroughly that we can compare only the real part with the real part and the imaginary part with the imaginary part. Now, if we compare the real part with the real part, then it will become that A1 is equal to A2, and if we compare with the imaginary part with the imaginary part, then it will become B1 is equals to B2. This is the equality of two complex number. So I'll repeat it once again for you, that if we have two complex number, then we can compare the real part with one another, and we can compare the imaginary part of one another. Or no, there is no comparison. There should not be any comparison between the real and imaginary parts. So here we cannot compare A1 with IB2. We have to compare the real part with the real part of the real part and imaginary part with the imaginary part. So please note it down. We'll move to the next one, that is the addition of and difference of two complex numbers, that is addition and subtraction of two complex numbers. So first of all, we'll take two complex numbers, sum and difference of two complex numbers. We'll take two complex numbers at Z1 and Z2. Let Z1 be A1 plus IB1 and Z2 be A2 plus IB2. Now, if we add two complex numbers, that is Z1 plus Z2, then it will become A1 plus IB1 plus A2 plus IB2. Real part will be added with the real part and imaginary part will be added with the imaginary part. So it will become A1 plus A2 plus I into B1 plus B2. This is how the sum can be done for two complex numbers. The same thing applies for difference also. If we do Z1 minus Z2, then it will become A1 plus IB1 minus A2 minus IB2. So it will become A1 minus A2. Real part can be subtracted with the real part only, and imaginary parts can only be subtracted with the imaginary parts. So it will be I into B1 minus B2. This is how the subtraction of two complex number occurs, which is very easy to understand. Now there are some properties related to the sum and difference of two complex number, which we are going to discuss it right now. If needed, then please note it down so that we can move to the next one. So some property related to the sum and difference of two complex number, that is, first one is closure property. In this property, it is being told that whatever we have seen, that is named as a property. Now a2 plus I b2, so it will become a1 plus a2 plus I into b1 plus b2. We have seen it already, right? We have done z1 plus z2, in which we have seen this. So in this property, it is being said that if we add two complex numbers, then the sum of two complex number will also be in the form of a complex number. So we can easily find out that one, that this is a real part and this is I into the another part, so it will I into the another real part, so it is becoming the imaginary part, and this is the real part, this is remaining as real part. So it is the general format of a complex number. So definitely it is a complex number. So next property is the commutative property. Commutative property says that z1 plus z2 is equals to z2 plus z1. Very easy to understand, no need to needs no explanation. Now third one is the associative one. Associative property. In this associative property, it is being told that z1 plus z2 plus z3 can also be written as z1 plus within bracket z2 plus z2. It is also very easy to understand. There is no confusion. There should not be any confusion regarding this. So please note it down so that we can move to the next one, that is multiplication of two complex numbers. Multiplication of two complex numbers. Multiplication of two complex number, let their one complex number be a1 plus ib1 and let another one be a2 plus ib2. Now if we multiply, that is z1 into z2, then what will be the thing? What will be the consequences? We will see a2 plus ib2. So first, as the normal multiplication law of algebra, it will come like this, plus ib2 ib1 into a2 plus ib2. So if we do the multiplication, a1 a2 plus I a1 b2 plus I b1 a2 plus I square b1 b2, a1 a2 plus I a1 b2 plus I b1 a2. I square means minus 1, so it will become minus b1 b2. So we can write it as a1 a2 minus b1 b2 plus I into a1 b2 plus b1 a2. So this is the result or the output of multiplying, after multiplying two complex number. So that is also a complex number because it is also in the form of a plus ib. It is quite visible. So please note it down so that we can move to the next one. In case of multiplication also, there are some properties which are followed by the complex number, that is commutative and associative. Commutative, in case of multiplication, commutative, it is being commutative, it is told that z1 z2 is equals to z2 z1. There is no difference between z1 z2 and z2 z1. In case of associative, it is also being told that it is also found that z1 z2 into z3, we can write it as z1 into z2 z3. No problem with this one also. So this is how it works. And now we'll move to the, please note it down so that we can move to the next one, that is division of two complex number, which is very interesting. Now division of two complex number, division of two complex number. Now let there one be a1 plus ib1 and let there another be z2, that is a2 plus ib2. Now we need to perform z1 by z2. So what to do? We just write a1 plus ib1 divided by a2 plus ib2. Now we can see that both the complex number, we have nothing to do here. By saying this, we'll just multiply with the conjugate of the denominator. Multiply numerator and denominator with the conjugate of the denominator, that is a1 plus ib1 into a2 minus ib2. So a2 plus ib2, that is becoming a2 minus ib2. Now if we multiply it by its conjugate, then it will become a2 square minus I square b2 square, because a plus b and a minus b, so it becomes a square minus b square. Let it multiply a1 a2 minus I a1 b2 plus I b1 a2 minus I square b1 b2. So it is becoming like this: a2 square plus b2 square, a1 a2 plus, it is becoming I square is equal to minus 1, so minus minus becoming plus, so it will be like this: a1 a2 plus b1 b2 minus, if we take I common, or plus we can take I as common, b1 a2 minus a1 b2. This is how it happens when we divide two complex number. So please note it down, it will be helpful. So we'll move to the next one, some of more properties related to this. Now if we have z is equals to a plus ib, these are the two most important things which you need to make a note of. Then we have gone through, we have seen that the conjugate of z, that is written as z bar, is equals to a minus ib. And if z is equals to a plus ib, then what will be the value of z inverse? Z inverse means we can write at z, that is 1 by z. If we divide 1 by z, then it will become z by mod of z square. So it will be a plus ib divided by mod of z square, that is z square plus b square. Remember these two very carefully, because you will be using the same, you will be needing the formulas, these two formulas for the purpose of problem solving. So in the next thing we'll just discuss about some properties related to conjugate and modulus, conjugate and modulus of a complex number. Some property related to conjugate and modulus of a complex number. First we'll start with the conjugate part, that is, if we have z1 plus z2 whole conjugate, where z1 and z2 both are complex number, then we can write it as z1 bar plus z2 bar. These two are equal. Now in the next part, if we do like this, z1 minus z2 whole bar, then it will be, you can write it like this, z1 minus z2. The third part, z1 into z2 multiplication, we can do like this. And in case of division, z1 by z2 whole bar equals to z1 bar divided by z2 bar. This is the most important property related to the conjugate of a complex number. Please make a note of it, and please try to remember all these things, because these will be very helpful in case of problem solving. Otherwise you won't be able to solve the problem related to the conjugate of a complex number. Please make a note of it so that we can move to the next one, that is the modulus related properties. So modulus related properties are like this, that if we have z1 by z2 is equals to mod of z1 by mod of z2. So mod of z1 z2 is equals to mod of z1 into mod of z2. These are the two main properties which are used in problem solving. There are several other properties too which are less used. You can go through them which are already written in the book properly. These are the main two. We are not discussing all of those, because those are the basic conceptual things, and these two are the most important things which will be needed to solve your problems in the exercise. So please make a note of this so that we can move to the next one, the most interesting topic. So in the previous video, that is the complex number part 1, we have told, once we have found that modulus and amplitude of a complex number, then we have discussed that the complex number which is written in the form of a plus ib can also be written in the form of like this: cos theta plus I sin theta, that is r was multiplied, because we have seen that x a is equals to r cos theta and b is equals to r sin theta, so that if we replace both the values we had from that diagram, please try to remember the diagram we have seen in the first video, that is r cos theta and b is equals to r sin theta. If we replace both the values, where r indicates the modulus of a complex number and modulus of a complex number is equals to mod of z is equals to root of a square plus b square. Modulus always gives us the positive value, so there is no need of taking the negative one. So this is also called as the polar form of a complex number. Now polar form of a complex number states what? Polar form of a complex number gives us this kind of indication. Now if we just want to convert a complex number which is basically in this format to this one, so what are the things we need to do? So we'll take one example and we'll try to solve it. So if we have z is equals to 3 plus 5i, this is the question. Now we have to convert the same into the polar form. So what are the things we need to do? So by comparison, if we compare it with a plus ib, then easily we can say that a is equals to 3 and let it be 4, so it will be easier to calculate, and b is equals to 4. So the value of mod z, so that is the modulus of a complex number, modulus of the complex number will be root of 3 square plus 4 square, that is equals to root of 25, that is equals to 5. Now what will be the amplitude of a complex number? Amplitude of z, we have seen that formula, the tan inverse y by x, that is tan inverse b by a. So that will be tan inverse 4 by 3. Now tan inverse 4 by 3 has a certain value, suppose let that value be theta. So we can calculate that value. Whatever things will come in our calculation, that value will be known, but here 4 by 3, tan inverse 4 by 3 is an unknown value in general, so we'll take it as theta. So if we want to, or let it be alpha, so it will be easier because we have already written theta here. So how to represent this in the polar format? So polar format states that r into cos theta plus I sin theta. So here the value of r, that is mod of z, is equals to 5. So we can write it 5, and theta here is alpha. So we can write it as cos alpha plus I sin alpha. This is how we can represent any type of complex number into a polar format. So this is easier to understand. Now, in case of polar format, these are the basic questions which you will go through and which you will come across, and we have to solve this kind of problems. Now we'll try to represent or try to plot a complex number which is in the form z is equals to a plus ib in the axis x and y axis. So we have already discussed that this is called as the real axis and this is called as the imaginary axis, because let it be x plus iy, so it will be easier to understand. So this is the imaginary axis because the imaginary number is represented or associated. Imaginary number is associated with y and real number is associated with x. So if we want to plot any complex number within that particular in this particular format, then we can say that if the complex number has only, please try to remember it properly, try to listen it properly, that if a complex number having only the real part, then it will be on the real axis, that is on the x axis. And if the complex number having only the imaginary part, then it will be on the y axis. It could be on the positive or it could be on the negative side of the y axis, but it will be on the y axis itself. Now if the complex number is in this format, that is x plus i1, so that it can be anywhere within this plane, and this plane is called as the Argand plane. This plane is called as the Argand plane. This is the main thing of the Argand plane. In the next video we'll discuss about the Argand plane and the concept of argument in detail, because in detail argument has to be conceptualized, because in case of argument we have to be very clear about how to calculate the argument and from where the argument comes from, and the things we have discussed in this part. Hope it will be helpful for the purpose of problem solving of some of the exercises which I will mention by text. So please try to understand the concepts whichever we have discussed in this part, so and try to solve the problems. So that's all for today. Thank you.